Hey, good afternoon. Scott Luton, Greg White, and Kevin L. Jackson with you here
Hello.
today. Good morning, Kevin, or good afternoon. How
Good
you doing?
morning. I tell you, this is great. I've been looking forward to this for like the last couple of weeks.
Awesome. Well, hey, we've got the Supply Chain Buzz all teed up like always every Monday, 12 noon Eastern time. Greg and I, and sometimes with outstanding guest co-hosts like Kevin L. Jackson and big guests like we have here today, all join us as we tackle some of the hottest topics across really global business. Of course, huge, big in supply chain, but across global business. Greg, how about you? How are you doing today?
Very good. It was a great weekend. I may or may not have got caught in a downpour, but it was not in the rain. Let's just put it that way.
Well, hey, we're gonna everybody's gonna get caught in a downpour of market intel, insights, and POV here today. It's gonna be a very unique episode too. We've got a legend teed up to join us about 12:20.
Yeah.
We've got Mr. Ed Archer of Semedia, better known as Special Ed, and he has got quite a legacy that he's been building for a couple decades. So stay tuned. Hey, Greg and Kevin, we should give a tip of the hat to our friends at OpenText, which is powering today's supply chain buzz. You know that
Not
event
possible without them, right?
That's right. Yes, that's right. They make a lot of things possible, including the supply chain buzz. But Greg and Kevin, we've been touting an event that they're going to gear up and host in June. That's been moved to September, and we're locking in a date. It's going to be, I think, September 14th, but more to come. Stay tuned, and you can learn more about OpenText at opentext.com. Okay, so let's do this. Let's say hello to a few folks, and then we're going to hit a few programming notes, and then we're going to dive into the news of the day. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So, Matthew Neely, he beat everybody to the punch. He shared this on YouTube about 11:30. He is geared up and ready to hear from Special Ed. We are too. Peter Bollet, all night and all day, is with us once again. He had a wonderful time with his grandkids over the weekend, or at least maybe remotely celebrating some birthdays. Peter, hope this finds you well. Don DePani, I think I've gotten that right.
That was very good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Hey, we try. It's important to get people's names wrong, but if I got that wrong, please let me know. Thanks for tuning in via LinkedIn. Mervin is with us once again from Dublin. Mervin, hope this finds you well. Rhonda, who's been dropping some great content, helping folks, especially from that work-life balance, mental goodness standpoint.
She has tackled the live stream and done so with aplomb. So
yes. Oh, nice.
I don't mean aplomb like the fruit. I mean like she's really good at it.
Did you just look that up?
I did.
Sharing all secrets.
I try to find a new word every week and use it repeatedly throughout the week. And hopefully eventually I learn what it actually means.
That's right.
I'll tell you. Google is my favorite.
It is.
My friend.
Thesaurus.com.
We know it was provenance for about 18 months with Greg.
Gosh, I still love that word. Still love that word. Hey, actually, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about provenance of media.
Yes, we are.
Right? With our guests.
Yes, we are.
All right, let's see here. AA is with us from Wichita, Kansas. Mohib, great to see you. Hope this finds you well. City of the Great via YouTube is with us. Great. Thanks for joining in. Stay tuned for our special guest here about 12:20. Bradford. Hey, Bradford's back with us, Kevin. We had a great interview not too long ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think there's a little slight delay, folks. I'm trying to use pregnant pauses, Greg and Kevin. Pregnant pauses. Alay is with us once again from Sudan. Hope this finds you well, Alay. Thanks so much for tuning in here today. And Thomas Carter is with us. I tell you, lots of movers and shakers here today. You guys need to play the Special Ed Everything is Digital video. Thomas, you're taking a sneak peek.
Yeah. Don't get ahead of us here, man.
Right.
I tell you, you're giving up all the secrets.
That's right. Eduardo, great to see you here today via LinkedIn. Srinivas is back with us. Hello, everyone from India, and hope this finds you, your family, and really all your friends successful in the fight against the second wave of COVID there. All right. So, and welcome.
Good news there recently anyway, more recoveries than new infections each day. And the mortality rate continues to decline every single day. So
that's great to hear.
It is great.
I appreciate you giving that good news. We all need good news. Go ahead.
Still, the issue is that the economy has been shrunk pretty substantially by this issue. And remember, as with our show with Vikas Khanna, Chef Vikas Khanna, the issue is that some people literally earn their money today to buy their food tomorrow. So still, there's a lot of need there. I know we've got the site. When we post the site, please go share your gifts with that organization.
So let's do that. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to share a couple of programming notes here. Greg just let off with the first one. So we're supporting a big effort to get much needed supplies over to our friends in India. So y'all check out viabha.org, which is a nonprofit. Every dollar goes to the fight. It's a good fight. Or you can send a note to our friends at Vector Global Logistics who are helping marshal the resources over there. So India at vectorgl.com. All right, so moving right along, let's see here. What else? So today on the main channel, the Supply Chain Real Estate series is back. Greg, you remember it in the series in our earliest days, right? In our very first studio with Ward, right?
Yeah. Gosh, seemed like forever ago, but it was, wasn't it?
It was. Well, hey, back. Right? That's right, Kevin. Check your beard. But hey, check out the newly reinvigorated series powered by our friends at Prologis, and Ward and Melinda and Megan. We have a wonderful, really finger on the pulse conversation. So y'all check that out on the main channel. The replay was dropped today. Lots of webinars coming up. Lots of great learning opportunities coming up, including this one that Kevin L. Jackson is going to be leading in July. We're way ahead of, man, we're planning like the Dickens around here. July 27th, 1 p.m. It's all about digital transformation. Imagine that. And Kevin's going to be navigating a great conversation with our friends from Esker, as it's well amazing. As
they're really a digital transformer. I mean, I'm looking forward to that.
I am too. And so we've got Kevin, we've got Esker, and we've got Dr. Morgan Swink from Texas Christian University, who has got his finger on the pulse of a lot of great things taking place across the digital transformation landscape. Hey, tomorrow, Peter Boley already mentioned it. Tomorrow, if Kevin's on the buzz, that means Dial P is just around the corner. Kelly has got a wonderful show teed up with some big names in Marcel and Jacob. So y'all join us tomorrow live at 12 noon Eastern time. And now, y'all ready to get down to business?
It's time for some news.
Hey, we can't let the legend hang out in the digital green room too long. So let's dive into 3 news stories, and then we've got Special Ed joining us here in just about 12, 13 minutes. So the first story here today, Greg, Amazon, man, they're adding to their army. Tell us a lot more about this.
75,000 new jobs. Wow. And at good pay rates, well above the, whatever we want to call it, the hopeful $15 minimum. I think they're starting at $17.10 an hour. So all those folks whose unemployment pay has just recently been cut can earn almost as much as they've been earning from the government now. So, and more than they will be shortly as those benefits are reduced. So great opportunity for folks to get back into the workforce. When I posted about this article, the big question was, and interesting, Srinivas from India had a lot to say about the opportunity that exists in front of us for people if they will just get back to work, right? The issue has been, and as I said, I may or may not have been caught in a downpour at a local constabulary this weekend. Somehow, no kidding, in the midst of dueling pianos, we were talking about the labor shortage. So regional vice president from a major trucking company, Transforce, 60 jobs, not a single application in 3 weeks. Another young man who works for a cybersecurity firm, Kevin, of all things, fresh out of school from Illinois, a Fighting Illini. He was talking about how they are giving sign and stay bonuses to new graduates to get them to come to work rather than to go on unemployment or whatever. A couple of really encouraging conversations I had. Also, my friend Mike, who has his own trucking company, only just a small number of trucks, lacks for neither drivers because it sounded to me like at the bar that he basically conscripts his cousins into driving for him, and they really have no choice. If you've ever met Mike, he's a big dude. You would not want to tell him no. Former UGA player. And then also talked to a company called Happy Gig. So get this, believe it or not only are there people who actually are working and looking for work, though, by the way, 16 million workers still remain on pandemic-assisted unemployment.
Wow.
So, I think the government has finally acknowledged that that's having a detrimental effect on pricing vis-a-vis labor, on pricing vis-a-vis inflated demand, and they're starting to take some of those away. So we'll start to see a bunch of those folks move back into the workforce. But anyway, the good news was this company called Happy Gig, Hapi Gig. And what they do is for people who are working, who have a full-time W-2 job and want more work, like to work maybe a few extra hours in an Amazon warehouse, they can sign up. They become a W-2 worker for that company, which a lot of companies require now because touching the goods and that sort of thing is a huge responsibility. So there are people looking for extra work, and it is you want to talk about encouraging. These people who are doing that, they may be the saviors of American society, frankly, that people really want to work hard and work more than one job to lift themselves up out of their economic situation, to build a better life for themselves and for their kids, and to encourage a strong work ethic for their kids. I think that in and of itself is just so powerful, and I'm glad that people are doing it. So,
excellent. Yeah, I really think one of the issues, though, is this patchwork of minimum wage that we have across the country. There are states and areas where the minimum wage, you just can't live comfortably. And this I know, it's political, but a national minimum wage that gives actual living wage to people is important. And I think that's part of this issue, this balance between giving assistance to people that can't get to work through, no reason of their own, no cause of their own, and the ability for people or companies to just pay minimum wage.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I think almost nobody pays minimum wage these days. And they can't, thankfully, right, Kevin, because the demand, it outstrips the supply of workers. And I think hopefully we'll see some real economic impact that forces workplaces to pay a living wage to get people to work. So
yeah.
Well, one last comment here, and we got to move to the next story. Is Amazon. It's really interesting. Just last week, they opened up their latest daily cargo service to the international airport in Pittsburgh. And so they continue to bring on more and more of their own freight demand and cargo, moving stuff. So it's fascinating. So,
well, that's not going backwards. That's been the strategic plan since they were failed by the big parcel carriers in 2014. And they really accelerated in 2016 and 17 when they were failed yet again and continue to be failed. So they really have no choice because they produce so much parcel volume.
Right.
They have to be in charge of their own destiny.
Yes, they're bringing it into their own control, their own hands. So good stuff there. All right, so let's keep driving.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about talking about counterfeiting and privacy, which has increased dramatically. What's going on here?
Yeah, there's been a study on international trade in counterfeit and pirated products. In 2016, it was like 509 billion. That's with a B. And that's an increase. Yeah. And that's an increase of 150 billion since 2013. And what's even more important, it represents 2.5% of the value of world trade. Okay, and these poor quality counterfeit electrical components, software, metals, really get into your cars, the plane you're going to fly, the appliances, your computers, and and it really contained toxic materials,
Hmm.
violations of logos, marketings, serial numbers.
Medicine,
Yeah, medicine,
PPE. I mean, there's some
PPE,
big
all this.
concerns.
Well, I
Um,
mean, if you're offshoring I mean, then this is not new, frankly, but if
no,
you're offshoring your production to China, you can bet that your molds for whatever you're building or your stamps for whatever you're stamping or whatever your designs are being used by someone in China to make something for someone else. I know that it happens. We were inadvertently part of it back in the early 90s when the same factory who made our tools also made Craftsman's tools. We found out they were actually making us Craftsman's tools and just simply stamping our name on the tool itself. It's part of the culture of Chinese business, and it remains so. And it's not just China, of course, Kevin, right? But
no.
that's predominantly where the issue lies.
Well,
So
But it
China
is.
is a huge economic power right now, and it's growing. But the protection of intellectual capital is really not as strong in China as we would hope.
That's an understatement.
yeah, well, this report.
That was very diplomatically put.
This report that was put out from the International Chamber of Commerce we got it here via the World Trademark Review. To Greg and Kevin's point, they point to China along with its global trading partner and transit point. Hong Kong is what the report says is the top producer and distributor of counterfeit goods, therefore providing a seamless environment for counterfeiters. So that's right out of the report and the data. So huge problem. But Kevin, any final thoughts here before we move to the third and final story?
Actually, go on to the third, because I think this is a sort of an extension of the second.
Yeah.
So when I glanced at this really quick, I thought that was Metallica. I thought that was a shot of Metallica on concert, but it's not. But nevertheless, so let's talk about streaming, and artists are demanding a different way of doing business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everyone knows that the world of commerce is it already has transitioned from physical to virtual. And the value of virtual goods is even more important than the physical world. And one of the areas is entertainment. I mean, who doesn't stream their music while they're working out or walking? And Netflix, I mean, binging on video streams is like what everyone has done for the last year, right?
Right.
Locked up in their homes. But the content creators are really getting shafted, to be honest. Okay, they're not getting their due when it comes to payment for the value they deliver, the cultural value, the entertainment value. And this week, over 150 artists in the United Kingdom, including Paul McCartney, Kate Bush, Damon Albarn, Chris Martin, and Wolf Alice, signed an open letter to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson, to reform the streaming economy and to put the value of music back where it belongs, into the hands of the music makers. And they actually talked to a lot of the politicos there in the United Kingdom and told the ministers there that the low streaming payments were threatening the future of music. And new acts, people that are trying to break into the business, they are facing massive competition from classic artists due to the algorithms, right? And I counterfeit. I mean, people are. I mean, let's face it. You get a streaming subscription and you're enjoying it, and your friend wants to listen to the music, or you have a Netflix. I know no one here does it, right? But you share your password to your family members to look at video. But companies like Spotify warn that if you actually increase subscription prices, people could even do more piracy on the music. So, cloud provides a lot of value and a lot of ease of consumption when it comes to this. But I mean, we can't afford to get rid of the people that make our lives worthwhile.
Agreed. And hey, look, we got to protect our IP, right? Whether
Yeah.
you're in the music industry, whether you're in other areas where you're putting in your blood, sweat, and tears into creating content for consumption, you got to protect that. It's livelihoods, and it's all the folks that make a living, and not just artists themselves, but everyone else. So, but
Well,
go ahead, Greg.
Well, I was just going to say there's a ton of disequity in this because part of the reason the algorithms highlight established, what they call legacy artists, is because a lot of legacy artists have a 10% royalty rate in their contract, whereas artists who came up in the streaming era have a different royalty rate for streaming than they do for reproduction of 25%. So it motivates these streaming companies to put out old music rather than new music. But it also highlights this disequity in another way, which is these older established artists, why are they not deserving of this 25% rate? And by the way, did anyone ever really think about the fact that Paul McCartney is getting 10%, not now, but was getting 10% of what the Beatles brought in, and 90% of it was going to someone else? If that doesn't identify
if Paul
a well-established disequity in the music industry, this is a great article to read. It will enlighten you to a lot of things that go on today and have always gone on in the music industry.
Agreed.
And this is really not just music. It is a digital supply chain, and this is software, and everything in today's world is software.
Agreed. So, folks, y'all check that out. Great article by Adam Goldsmith over at NME. Also, I was going to say, if Paul McCartney's getting 10, Ringo should get no more than 5, Greg. No more than 5. I'm kidding. Hey, but speaking of legends, let's talk about our guest here. I want to introduce our guest, Kevin and Greg. Y'all ready?
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
Right. So let's I want to kind of set the table just a bit. So our featured guest here today grew up in the Flatbush neighborhood in Brooklyn. He's a son of Jamaican.
Yeah.
Yes. Crooklyn's finest, I believe I heard in some of the prep stuff I reviewed. The son of Jamaican immigrants. He's the youngest of 5 boys. Our guest exploded onto the music scene in the 80s. In fact, he signed his first recording contract when he was still a teenager. His hit, I Got It Made, was legendary, dominated the charts, turned him into a young star. His 1989 debut album, Youngest in Charge, true to its word, it dropped when he was only 17 years old, and it hit the top 10 in the U.S. R&B charts. And that was just the beginning. More hit albums, singles, TV, movie appearances all would follow, including an appearance, Greg and Kevin, on one of our favorite movies, the 1992 film Juice, that we still reference throughout all kind of conversations.
Yeah.
So we're welcoming a true legend here to the Supply Chain Buzz today. Let's welcome in Mr. Ed Archer with Semedia, better known as Special Ed. Ed, good morning. Or good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I want to, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. It's an honor and a privilege to be here amongst such wonderful, listen, let me tell you what's going on. These worlds are now merging. So now
isn't that crazy?
Yes. So now we didn't have much conversation or interest, we share the same interests now, and the dialogue is opening up, and that's beautiful, and we need to have a lot more of it.
Agreed.
That's such a great point to open up on. Dialogue, regardless whatever issue we're having in business or otherwise, got to have that dialogue. So, our audience, I'm sure, knows you well. But as Kevin mentioned pre-show, for the 5% that are always hanging around and might have their head in a hole somewhere, tell us a little bit about your musical journey, Special Ed.
Well, I started off, I recorded my first album at the age of 15 when I was still in high school. And this was in the 80s. And my first single came out when I turned 16 years old. I was in school, yeah, high school, and it got enormous success, international success, and I was doing great apparently, in the eyes of the press and the world. I was on top of the world.
Mhm.
So when we look at the actual infrastructure of the business of music, that's when we kind of got a deeper look and an understanding of what was really going on. But
Yeah.
I had the great fortune of working with all kinds of celebrities and luminaries. I've done work with the likes of Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, and many others that have led the way. I've personally, been sampled and duplicated and replicated and honored pretty much by a lot of your favorite artists. So, it's just good to be back in this area and to be able to introduce some things to the people.
Well,
Wow.
I love how you're using all of that experience and success and applying to some of the biggest challenges we have across the digital landscape here today. But Kevin, where are we
Yeah.
going next here?
Well, I mean, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. You are a legend, and everything that you've done in the music industry, but now you seem to be following that up in the business world. So, what's really on your agenda right now?
Well, basically, I've took the concept of the record business, and the understanding is there's no more records. We don't really print vinyl, so it's media.
Right.
Everything is digital. So we've gone
Everything is
into the
media,
digital
yeah.
age. And now that we're in the digital age, how do we monetize that? How do we control that? And how do we grow and flourish as artists, as entrepreneurs? Because there's various industries that have digital assets and they all need, the blockchain. They need security. So here I am. I have a media company, Sem Media, and not only do I do entertainment and music side of things, but I'm into the tech space as well. I do media and tech consulting. I have a website. It's semmedia.io, and it will clearly kind of show you where I'm at in the space. And this is what I do now. Music is fun, and I still do that. I have artists, and this is all a part of incorporating the music industry into the blockchain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think
All right.
it is a fascinating kind of confluence of music and technology and supply chain. I mean, really, right?
Yeah.
I,
You never thought you'd be talking rap music, Greg, on a supply chain show, huh?
yeah, well, yeah, but I'm glad. I'm glad, but I got to tell you, I got to ask this question before we move on. So, Tupac and Biggie, obviously not big friends. Would you consider
They
yourself
were.
a classic East Coast rapper?
Yeah, I actually am, but I'm more of an international. At the time when I came out, hip hop was more global and not divided into sectors and neighborhoods. It was
Yeah,
more so like we are the hip hop community. So what happened was it started breaking down, and media started breaking it down to East Coast, West Coast, and then they
right.
started getting into the great divides. And when that starts to happen, that's when you have confusion, no leadership, no direction. And
Yeah, and
that's what we face with now.
yeah, well, and I think likewise with the technology, right? What we were just talking about, Ed, is how we've got this sort of divide between the musicians and the music industry, and kind of not created, but exacerbated by technology, right? Nobody saw streaming coming, and they didn't really provision for it in the agreements that a lot
Right.
of you and your fellow artists have. So you recently created a video. We're going to share a little bit of that, but for DEG, the Digital Entertainment Group, for their Tech Ops Award, is that
Yes,
correct?
sir. They had their inaugural first ever Tech Ops Awards, and basically the digital uh, media environment, from the content creators to content delivery to everything. They are honoring each other now, and they're giving accolades and just showing, because they generate the billions. They actually generate most of the income from all content. So even movies probably make 80% more when it goes digital, especially now because of this whole COVID thing
Right.
that's happening. So, that's where everything is existing right now. It's all digital. And see, in my day, how this relates is, in my day, I had a record label called Profile Records that I signed to. They were the record label, they were the manufacturer, and they were the distributor at the same time. Now, who are they accountable to?
And all the
I don't
leverage.
know.
Yeah.
All the
Yeah,
leverage.
so
Not you.
and they had platinum artists. They had Run DMC, Dana Dane, Rob Bass. I mean, you name it. They had these mega hit songs, yet the artist still remained in, man. So now what
Yeah.
this does is it has accountability. This is all accountability. We have, smart contracts. We have everything blockchained in. We have an opportunity for entrepreneurs to go in and actually deal directly with their market, get paid directly, and
Right.
not have to deal with the bureaucracy and, the red tape and, the triple books. You know what I mean? Like,
And verify when your art is being used too. I mean, Kevin and I were talking about that. By the way, Ed, I think we're going to rename Kevin Special K.
there is a Special K. That's my.
I know. That's
I
tough.
can't do
That's the problem.
Special K. I gotta make
That's the
something
problem.
up.
So we've already got a blockchain problem. So
Look. I'm
But I
going to
think-
support the intellectual capital of Special K. Okay.
yeah.
I'm just telling you right now.
the verifiability, I think, is critical too, because one of the things that's difficult in this streaming age with YouTube and people sampling and people claiming fair use of music, meaning they use a small enough segment of the song that they feel they shouldn't have to pay for it, is with blockchain, we can verify whether that's true every single time it happens. And it could I could see it becoming automated. Somebody samples, I got it made, Ed gets paid. And
Exactly.
I think that is a fantastic use of things. It ties very much into, I'm going to use the P word, Scott, provenance, like we were talking about with counterfeit products, and like we were talking about with piracy of products as well. So I think it's a fantastic vehicle. All right. Is it okay if we share a little bit of your video?
Oh, absolutely. This is a video I did strictly for the sole purpose of the DEG Tech Ops Awards, and it was really a testament. It was like a commercial, almost a demonstration of what we at Sem Media do. So what I've done is, written, recorded, and also did a video for them, just specifically for them with a message. And the message in it is exactly what we're bringing to the table and what we at Sem Media envision. And I want to thank Thomas Carter, and I want to thank Kevin Jackson for just being visionaries and not just having that corporate mindset, but being able to relate it to everyday life and people. We talking about, family men, people with belief and spirituality, and it's not just about, it's morality going on here. And you can reach these pinnacles and these heights of your career and keep moving. There's a lot of people out here that are very successful. They're making a lot of money in the music entertainment industry. But what are they doing for others?
Yeah.
What are they doing to open the door to enable others? In my opinion, I would rather see 1,000 millionaires than 1 billionaire.
I gotta echo what you said there, Special Ed. Kevin, having collaborated with Kevin for quite some time, Greg and I and the whole team, he does it the right way, and he is brilliant and he's visionary.
Amen.
So to be able to rub elbows with Kevin and Greg and the gang here is just incredible. And having you here, and there's 1,000 questions, Greg and Kevin, that we'd love to get the next 10 hours from Special Ed, and really hear his stories, because he's got so many of them. But let's give him a little sample.
Give the people what they want.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. Let's play it. Roll it, play.
Special Ed. Yeah. This is is for the DEG. If you don't know, you better ask QC. SVOD, TVOD, OTT. Any way you want, but it won't be free. I remember everything was linear. Now it's a whole new millennia. Now it's the age of some media. Blockchain, you can penny in Ethereum. Digital, everything is digital. First it's invisible, then it's official. It's a digital, everything is digital. Digital, everything is digital. Digital, everything is digital. It's invisible, then it's official. It's digital, everything is digital. Digital, everything is digital. Digital revolution for distribution, anti-piracy, content security. Can't nobody lie to me. This is a surety. Everything gets a digital name, connecting your digital assets to the blockchain. Now y'all come see me. I can even type.
Oh,
That's
I
just
love
a
it.
piece of it.
I'm bopping over here. All right.
That's probably the best education that most people have gotten on the blockchain ever. It explains it so well.
Well,
Yeah,
a part of that too is not just opening the space to the masses, but being able to educate them at the same time so that they understand why it's important, so that they understand, tokenization and what this new market means in terms of economics and the shift in economics.
Mhm.
How does the blockchain help me? How does tokenization help me? How does cryptocurrency help me? I mean, you have to know what's going on in order to participate or even to want to pay attention.
So you are making a real statement here, and your relationship with the DEG obviously is a big, important part. But as an independent artist, can you maybe tell us more about why this is such an important mission to you?
Well, this is an important mission because I need to even the playing field, because we have a whole culture of artists and participants that are suffering. They're suffering because their incomes and their monetization have been minimized due to some technologies that are not available, some ways of tracking. And this kind of changes and levels the playing field. So it's not just in the hands of corporate alone, but the end user and the artists and the entrepreneurs that want to participate can participate actively, reach their markets directly, avoid piracy and get what they deserve from their business. A lot of these people are small businesses. We're talking about Amazon, who's grown exponentially because of this pandemic and because of the way they've been positioned to make money while other mom and pop and small businesses have to close down and shut down. So they're really assuming that portion of the economy from the smaller businesses.
Right.
Yeah. And this is a way where we have to get more direct and reach out. And it goes to entertainment, but it goes for entrepreneurship in general.
So I want to circle back on some of the pain points you mentioned a second ago, but I want to share a couple of comments here. Bradford likes what was said earlier. I get paid when my record is played. To put it short, I got it made. I think that's from I got it made. Yes.
And I
Mervin's.
like what you were saying about the tracking in the blockchain, where they can identify the music and the sampling, and then automatically, you're built in, you're locked into that contract and getting paid. So it's almost like I don't have to worry about the process of the licensing to every artist that wants to sample, or if someone wants to sample without asking, then it doesn't matter because I'll be getting paid directly. And that's what every artist needs to understand.
It's a democratization tool, right? I mean,
Amen.
I don't know too much about all those layers you talked about in the music industry, but do you think that this could minimize the impact of some of those layers, or even allow artists to produce and distribute for themselves without or with less impact from record companies? Do we still call them record companies?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's really just a media company at that point.
Yeah.
And they have history. They may have some, tenure in doing business on a broader scale, but these artists will now have the ability to come out here independently without the use of a label. Now they can decide whether or not they want to include a label. Now, I will say that a label can provide you a bigger machine to operate in. But as an independent artist, you have an opportunity to grow your own machine and make your dollar from, dollar one, instead of waiting for the record label to define what your net worth is or what your net pay is. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I want to circle back here. First, I want to say Big Show Bob Bova is with us. He's asking if that's a new theme song. We cannot afford that. We'd love to make that a theme song. We can't write a big enough check. But I want to go back to these pain points that Special Ed is talking about related to the music industry. Do you think the public, your average music consumer, is really aware of these challenges on the business side of music here in 2021?
Well, no, but the artists are talking up enough, and there's enough suffering going on in the community that we're speaking out about what is going on, because the residuals they're getting for streaming on these platforms is less than it was for radio, which was the minimum as it was in the anyway. So it's like they're bringing it down to where it's like scraps. So now we have to find a new ecosystem that we can exist in, that we can deal direct in. And it's not just about the music. We also have brands. We have merch. We have lines. Some people have colognes, alcoholic beverages, energy, whatever it may be. As an entrepreneur, you have to exist in this ecosystem and be able to flourish. I mean, I see a lot of people out here announcing their large achievements and, we're doing this and we're doing this in this space and that space, but congratulations on your success. How about everyone else? What are we going to do? And that's what I'm trying to deal with. I'm trying to deal with how to open this market up so everyone, for one, understands it. So there's also an educational element where we have to educate the people now in order for them to know, once again, why this is important and what is happening in the very world that you exist in right in front of you.
So Greg,
a lot of people are totally oblivious.
Right. Yeah. I'm with you. Greg, he's on quite a mission is what I'm picking up on.
Yeah. I mean, it's, well, I think I think a noble mission too, because he's looking out for the little guy. And I mean, let's face it, the big guys get ripped off too. I mean, I think the record companies in the past, they needed to make a lot of money because you had to ply DJs and radio operators with gifts. Sometimes, let's just call them gifts. Yeah. Get your music played. Now, all you got to do is put it out there on Spotify or SoundCloud or another streaming channel, and it's organic. It can be organic, right? You don't necessarily need the marketing or the influence that a lot of these record companies have. So,
the internet has made the cost of distribution so low, but that difference in cost is not being shared to all the artists. Also,
that's right.
Also, the actual market. I mean, there used to be a regional market for music, regional artists, but there's no such thing as a regional anything. Everything is a global marketplace.
Yeah, there's no boundaries anymore, right? So, I'm curious.
Ever since they opened the World Wide Web.
Right. There are no boundaries except for those countries that block the World Wide Web.
Greg on China.
Iran and China. Yeah. You knew I was going there, Kevin. But look, I mean, in the past. No, go ahead, Ed. Sorry.
I mean, they have such technological countries, but yet they want to block technology.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it is social engineering, right? Yeah. They're trying to determine what their people hear. So wherever there are no boundaries, you should have the reach. And I think, as Kevin said, you do and can have the reach, and the cost of production, as you've said, Ed, the cost of publishing, the cost of promoting, the cost of distribution even the cost of printing are dramatically lower than they used to be. And I think all of that incremental margin is being absorbed by the media / record companies rather than being shared, is what you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
I think what we're seeing is there's more to share, but it's not being shared because the contract doesn't obligate them to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it seems like you're trying to leave more of a legacy behind than just money or wealth or fame or whatever. I mean, this feels like it's about education. It's about fair play. It's about, I mean, it really is about helping your community. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of your thought? What's driving you to do this?
Well, basically, my personal life's experience is what, and I can imagine what all these artists have been going through, are going through. I've seen a lot of my friends, my loved ones lose their lives, lose their careers, turn to drugs and just the streets, and they have gifts. So when you have people like this and you see this type of thing happen over and over, I've been seeing this happen for decades. So to me, the problem is that they're not able to apply their gifts in a way that it can help their lives. And when you can change that, then you can help more lives. And then you'll have less people turning to all the negative energy that is happening today. I mean, there's a lot of young artists out right now that seemingly are doing so well, yet they're killing each other, and it's online. It's like they're filming this stuff. It's like things are going haphazard really fast, and we need to get a handle on it. We need to get some education on it, and we need to change the direction and mindset of the youth moving forward so that they can be more prosperous and be thinkers and not run around out here like thugs in the streets, because really that's not what they are, and they're not born that way. They're just influenced by the media and by what they're shown, and what they think hip hop is, because that's what the media shows them that hip hop is.
So you said that earlier. I think that's a good point.
Agreed. But beyond being thinkers, you got to be doers, like Special Ed is taking action to help to make for a better industry and to truly resolve some of the pain that's in the industry in the loss, and making things for the better. So we really admire what you're doing, to have a legend with the voice you have, the reach you have, the following you have, apply all of that and your expertise and experiences to making things better, which will only benefit, your efforts clearly are focused on music industry, but it's going to benefit all industry with movements like this. So I want to share a couple of comments. And then Kevin, if you bring us home with this interview, I know we want to protect Special Ed's time really quick. Clay shares touring was how some of these guys made all their money, even though their songs had millions of streams. When COVID hit, they made nothing. Big problem in the infrastructure, and exposes the artists, which are often just kids. Bob Bova says protecting IP when delivering products, music to end users is the challenge for us all. Cloud makes distribution effective, but locking down any ownership compensation in illegal copies became the challenge of the decade. Excellent point there. And I would just add, Greg, we've seen it firsthand. Some of the content we've made over 600 plus podcasts and a couple hundred live streams, that content's being used in ways that we had never planned for.
Right.
And then Mohib, which I would echo, I applaud, I appreciate you sharing this. Special Ed does have a vision that the world still has a lot to transform to level the playing field for all musicians. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of vision and passion, and been there, done that, and we got to do better in what I'm hearing from Special Ed, Kevin.
Yeah,
Deeds, not words.
Absolutely. And one of the things I would like, in closing, I'd like to really bring up the fact that there is no room in the world for culture wars, right? Okay, people may have seen like Special Ed is going to be on what? Supply Chain Buzz? Why are these cultures, what does hip hop have to do with supply chain? And it's emblematic of how everyone is connected, right? You can't give pain to one culture without feeling that pain in your own culture. We are all connected in a global environment, in a global world. And we have to recognize that and support each other in whatever we do. So there are multiple cultures, yes, but let's celebrate the differences, because the differences that we support and celebrate really enhance our own culture, enhance our own life. So don't be turned off by, quote, hip hop. All right. You can learn so much. Don't be turned off against one culture versus another culture. And I want to thank Special Ed for being on this mission and joining us here on Supply Chain.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
I want to thank
very
you all
much.
for having
First
me.
of all,
It's an honor and a pleasure, truly. And definitely that's Media. That's my goal, is just to open the dialogue, open the doors, and just kind of let everybody share. You know what I mean? Share ideas, solutions, and be able to help each other moving forward in this global economy.
Well said. Thank you so much, Special Ed. Y'all check
Yeah.
out Samedia.io, and you can learn a lot more about what he's up to and this incredible mission that he's on behalf of our entire team. Thanks so much for carving time out here today on your busy week. Happy birthday, by the way. Happy 27th.
Thank you. Thank you.
We should have led off with that, but to spend some of your time here, thank you very much. We hope to have you back.
All right. This is the gift. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we've been talking with the legend, Mr. Ed Archer, all better known as Special Ed with Samedia. Thanks so much, Ed.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Wow. That is Kevin, back when we were talking about Special Ed making his appearance, I'm slower than both of y'all. Greg and Kevin is light years. Both of them are light years ahead of me. But man, to echo your final point, everything is connected. And what excites me about this is it can potentially be a transformational use case for blockchain. And we're looking for more and more of that, right? Because it has all the potential to truly transform industry and rising tide lifts all ships. Kevin?
So I see Special Ed as the epitome of a digital transformer, going back to my show. And that's why I am so thrilled to be working with Supply Chain Now. And thank you both, Scott and Greg, for giving me the latitude to explore these edges of the business world.
Well, hey, this is some of the best parts of the journey, right? When we really, so many folks, I think, and I've made a mistake, Greg. I'd love to get your take here. We've all made plenty of mistakes. You start making content and you can put blinders on, and then you can eliminate some of the great conversations that you should be having because everything is so interconnected. But Greg, what's some of your key takeaways here?
Yeah, I'm sure I've made far more mistakes than you have, and probably more catastrophic as well. So fear not, people. You can survive anything. I think the other is, I love this as an education point. First of all, who doesn't love music? And to Ed's point, who does have a problem with rap music? If you do, listen up. But I think that there's an important thing to identify here, and that is, I'm going to say it because I got nothing to lose by anybody in the music industry blackballing me. Music is a predatory industry. They take advantage of disadvantaged people who are more artists than business people, and they take a big portion of their dreams from them and hold them beholden to a contract. I've seen it happen. Not personally, not a musician, but I've literally known people who've had that happen. And this is the great democratization of one of the most disruptable industries that needs disruption, to give back the dreams, the ownership, the copyright, the rights, frankly, to the artists who are the creators, right?
Yeah, the dreams that have been stolen. I love it.
I love it. Yeah, that's right. So I think it's a fantastic initiative. I think it's great that Ed he's taking control of his and other people's destiny and aligning it with the needs and desires and opportunities of the artists of today. And I love that he is trying to change the lives of others with it. So
I love that too. We always knew that music would truly save the world. This perhaps was one of the newest opportunities for that to happen. All right. So before we close, I know we've got a tight window to close here. I got to share this from Peter, Kevin, and Greg. Peter has calculated the value of Greg's palette back behind him. That's a $75. That's a $75 palette. And then Mervin says, Peter, that's why he treasures it.
That's right, Mervin. Thank you.
That is right. Well, hey,
It's
Mervin
coming to
also,
Dublin when I come there, Mervin.
that's right. As order leads to chaos, chaos leads to a new order.
Yeah.
Marvin, man, that is
Absolutely. I'm going to write
poetic.
that one down.
seriously.
You know, what you guys were all saying made me think of a Maya Angelou quote. No one of us is free until all of us is free.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what this initiative is all about. No one of us is free, or no one of us has opportunity until all of us has opportunity. You know, paraphrase it however you will.
Right.
It just struck me when you guys were talking about that. So
Excellent point. Okay. So as we wrap here, Kevin, I love how you challenge everybody to have a brighter digital future in your digital transformer episodes. So I'll give you the last thought here before we all sign off. What do folks need they got to take away from this conversation with special ed?
Number one, everyone is connected. Okay. We all have our own cultures. We all have our own values, but they all support each other. Let's focus on that. If we haven't learned anything from the past year, we're all connected. So let's strengthen that connection. Let's not tear it down.
Yeah.
amen.
Amen. Absolutely. Amen. And celebrating the differences, you know, that's part of the beauty in life. And sometimes it can create some tough conversations and some conflict, but if we truly celebrate it and have that dialogue that Ed was talking about on the front end of this conversation interview, that is so really important. So with all that said, folks, I hate to close this down. Matthew Neely asked if we could close it out with the entire song. We can't, but I think we can drop that link into the entire song into the comments. Y'all check that out. You got it. If you haven't, if you're part of the 5%, Peter Bolay, not calling anybody out, but since you self-identified, y'all got to check out.
Peter said, I am the 5%. No.
That's right. He's self-identified, but y'all got to check out I Got It Made. There's a huge reason why that was such a big hit. The riff on it is just really cool. So y'all check that out.
I thought, Scott, you were going to do some rapping here.
Hey, you'll have to tune in to Dial P tomorrow at 12 noon to hear me rap. So
Scott he's a big rap fan.
Yeah, seriously.
I know. He can identify that song in like half a note.
Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough challenge. But yeah, Tribe Called Quest was one of my groups I loved growing up. But we'll save that for another time. Huge thanks to the whole team, of course, Clay and Natalie and Amanda behind the scenes making it happen. Big thanks to my incredible co-hosts here, Greg White and Kevin L. Jackson. Of course, huge thanks to the folks in the cheap seats, all the great comments. Really appreciate that. A lot of poetry in the comments here today. And of course, the one and only, a legend, Special Ed, dropping in, sharing clearly deeds, not words, and the special noble mission that he is on. What a great episode of The Buzz. Hey, what a great way to start the week. Most importantly, if you do anything at all, do good, give forward, be the change that's needed, be just like Ed Archer. And on that note, we'll see you next time right here on Supply Chain Now. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.